I have no doubt that the dating pool is difficult now. But the
problem is that the state is the legal enforcement arm.
Well, that's by definition.
Correct. So there's no way for a man to get married in 2024 without being entered into the state contract.
But that's always.
So I understand, but I understand men's hesitation when the quality of women has gone down.
But what if,
I don't tell men not to get married or like what to do. I think every man has to decide for themselves. But I don't think you're going to win a lot of support, or I think you have to understand the problem in order to come up with a solution.
So you are telling men, at the very least, you're observing that it is not advisable today in 2024 to get married.
I would say that every man has to pick for himself. Okay. But I think objectively, if me and you sign a contract and one of us is paid to leave, you would never sign that business deal. You would never sign it.
I did, right? If you're saying that's the state of marriage now, I did get married, therefore I did sign it.
Okay, well, congratulations, but I think a lot of men are going to be hesitant to do that.
And you're saying it's rational for them to be hesitant.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's advisable,
not advisable.
But rational.
Every man, like, okay,
what's the difference?
I'll give you an example. I'm not here. I think men have had enough of women telling them what to do. I'm not telling men to do anything. But I think your situation is going to be completely different than the average Joe making $45,000 a year. If your marriage goes south, you have the money to afford lawyers.
I have the money, but I'm going to lose half my money.
What?
But
do you think you're in the same position as the average man making $45,000 a year? The answer is no.
No, but I don't.
The answer is no.
I don't think it's because of my money, though. You know what I think it's because, well, look, when I got married, I didn't have a lot of money, but now I have more money. No. But I think there's a bigger distinction here, which is I am of a religious view and practice that does not recognize the reality of divorce. Not only do we discourage it, I'm a mackerel-snapping papist, a member of the Catholic faith.
I'm Catholic, too.
You're Catholic also?
I'm also Catholic.
So, marvelous news.
Yeah.
We do not.
And Catholics are not immune to divorce. I have seen it. I've seen people getting married for the second time. They still get communion, and the number of annulments is going up.
That's not licit.
The number, but
that's
they
a grave
do. But that's the
no.
But I know. But it doesn't matter because it happens all the time.
But you can.
And totally.
I see someone who calls himself.
We have a record number of annulments this year in the Catholic Church. You cannot. The Catholic Church is getting more. You see the Pope. And I think we could agree on this stuff.
The Pope for all of the liberal statements that have appeared in the press under his name, the Pope is generally pretty good on matters of sex and marriage. He's pretty clear. When you say Catholics get divorced, it has happened. There's a distinction between an annulment.
It's around. I looked it up before this. It's around 25, 35.
So that's how. Yeah,
it's around. Yeah, it's around 35%. And so that's not a small percentage.
What's the national average? Like 45% roughly.
So 2024 it was 50.
Okay, so
I know everyone splits hairs over like the 5-10%, but regardless, it's not small.
So what that means then is that if you're a man, and I totally grant that dating pool's tough and the economy's tough and the divorce courts are terrible and divorce laws are terrible.
But they should sign up anyway.
Well, yeah, no. Before we even get to that, one way to mitigate one's risk in marriage of divorce would be to be just any old Catholic, right? Because you then reduce the likelihood of divorce by 16% immediately. 16 percentage points, much more than 16% from the 50% number. So then, what if you're Muslim? Divorce rates among Muslims, even a little lower, 30%. Divorce rates among Orthodox Jews, 30, as low. There's a lot of different kind of Jews, but it goes down to as low as 10. And then you get down to a little more of the old school Catholics, which is kind of how I practice. There aren't great numbers on it.
Do you go to Latin Mass?
Traditional Latin Mass, like.
Yeah, that's a lot of patience.
But frankly, I find it.
No, it's good. It's good. Latin Mass is a little better.
It seems like it goes faster than the shorter.
No, it's a little bit better in the Latin Mass. I'd agree.
But when it comes to divorce, the numbers are a little sparse here. It's like 5 to maybe 10%.
But the problem is with most of those stats. One, most of those studies were done before social media. Anyone that dated before and after social media knows it completely changed the game.
How do you mean?
Well, women now have access to men anywhere. And cheating goes like dating. The number one way people are meeting under 30 is dating apps.
Yep.
I mean, this is a completely different dating marketplace than when you were dating.
Though I guess,
and that's my point.
When I was dating,
there's no Catholic woman in divorce court. Women will throw out their religion very, very fast when they want to leave. You cannot pray a woman that wants to leave you into not leaving you.
I think you don't the statistics I just cited show that you can, because the
no,
divorce
but the
rates are so
problem
much
with
lower.
those is they include women over a certain age. The women under the age of 35
You're saying
have been on. So yes, it's completely different.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you can't really deny it with what you've seen. You go on whatever podcast. Are those the same women of our grandmothers and great grandmothers? No, it's completely different.
There's not a ton of Orthodox Jews and traditional Catholics on that podcast, but and perhaps there's a reason for that.
And you got to ask like the reputation. What's the reputation of Catholic girls?
Well, what do you mean? I mean, again,
that's my point. My point is they have if there was an abundance of wives in church, Michael, the men would be lining up to go.
But they do. The traditional churches.
Men are leaving the church under the age of 35. Young men, church participation is going down altogether. But young men are leaving the church.
But what about the traditional parishes?
The traditional parishes,
they're exploding, and it's all young people. I mean, the median age is like 22 in these parishes, and it's largely young men. So I totally grant you that a lot of modern religion has become quite effeminate and has driven men away.
Right, but I'm saying the Catholic Church is not exempt. It's absolutely not exempt. I've seen a lot of the same trends in the Catholic Church.
I guess my confusion is, though, you bring up these statistics, and so then we acknowledge the statistics that show that if one gets married, assuming that divorce is not a sacramental reality, that the likelihood of divorce goes way down. But then when we say that, you instantly say, well, actually now the statistics aren't worth anything because young people are different.
Wait, say that again? Sorry.
So
wait.
We agree that the numbers for Catholics, Jews, Muslims, Orthodox Jews and Muslims, divorce numbers are way lower. And you acknowledge those statistics, but then you say,
no, I don't. No, I don't.
You don't? Okay, all right.
No, because most of those include women over a certain age.
Right, you're saying the young people, it's totally different.
It's a different time, Michael.
So what is...
And that's the same thing, like the time my parents got married in is completely different.
So what changed, other than now they have, so they meet on apps rather than at bars, and that's the big change? That's why we can't believe the statistics anymore?
Well, the average marriage is 7 years now, Michael.
Right, but we've had divorce, expanded divorce for a long time. We've had no-fault divorce in America since 1969. So, I acknowledge these are, by historical standards, relatively novel, but we're still talking like 50 years, right?